left, Jess on his right. Hey, hold up, don't start a fight. He's got you covered with all the sports. Don't fret, he's wearing shorts. It's time for Waking Jake in the morning, Waking Jake at night. Jake sucks.
Woo! What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wake and Jake, a little special edition. We're not live. We're premiering it, probably, so maybe you're kind of watching it live.
You guys are all chatting.
Yeah, chat it up. Gossip. Say hi to everyone. Do the shake hands emoticon thing that's popular nowadays. I have a little bit of a crazy schedule this week, trying to go on Jess's family vacation that I've missed for the past 4 years, trying to do this, so I'm going to do a pit stop. I'm actually probably flying back to New York as we release this, but it's a big day in sports. It's the NBA draft, so we want to give you your full dose. I know there's a lot of baseball fans here. Baseball. But NBA draft is big.
Baseball.
BBD, huge NBA guy, as am I. And MLB trade deadline also sneaking up on us. As I'm on my way back, we're doing big stuff on Talking Baseball with the trade deadline, so go check out a bunch of that stuff there. The Olympics are happening.
Maybe we already had to do something big for the trade deadline.
Ooh, maybe something already happened. That's scary stuff. That's, whoa. That kind of just shook me a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a mock NBA draft. Me and BBD will go back and forth to see who your favorite team will be selecting. And the first thing I do want to do, and this is something fun that we should release this to the public that we've done the past couple of years just amongst our friends, is going to different websites and getting kind of the roundabout where guys are getting drafted. So, and basically what that does is, obviously you have some guys that are locked in early. Cade Cunningham, we have a consensus number one. That's pretty cool. You don't always get that. And the NBA draft gets really wild when that doesn't happen. This year, there's a lot of commonalities in the first 5 picks or so, and then things start to fall off a little bit. So a part of what we wanted to tell you guys, and maybe we'll graphic, we'll see. We'll get it out somehow. But is also the range, because this is what makes the draft fun. Every year, whether you're an NFL draft person, whether you're an NBA draft person, MLB draft, starting to get exciting, is that you have people come out of nowhere or go out of range. It's what makes the draft fun. And this year, there's a couple guys that are big range picks. So at first, I want to get those names out to you guys, and then we'll start the mock draft. So the first one who's risen the board a lot lately and is pretty high everywhere except, so the websites we looked at were NBADraft.net, ESPN, The Ringer, and Bleacher Report to kind of get a consensus of where these guys are going. The first one that jumps out is James Bouknight. I'm a big UConn fan. Grew up, go Huskies, grew up in the state of Connecticut. My dad went to UConn. Grew up during the Ray Allen, Rip Hamilton, Jake Voskuhl. I mean, some of those UConn teams. James Bouknight is a fun player. UConn's record when he was on the court versus when they weren't was significantly different. He's a game changer. He's fun. Throughout the draft process, everyone's for a while, he was the teens pick throwing, like a lot of teams like James Bouknight, and now he's flying up the boards.
For a while he was like post lottery. Here's the guy you'd be taking a swing if you pick him. But now he's like a consensus top 10 guy.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, a couple places, ESPN has him at number 6. NBA Draft Net the same. If you've never been to NBADraft.net, go. It's my favorite website. I'll put it into the ether. One of my dreams is that we add it to the JOMBOY Media Network because it's
Best website.
It's the best website ever. In like a quirky way, like you know how you kind of go, like you have your old hometown sandwich place that they always put mayo on your sandwich and you always tell them no, but you get some mayo. Like they've got a little bit of that going on. That was a horrible comparison. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see draft night when it actually goes down, if Boog Knight has risen that much or if it has been a lot of pre-draft fodder, because I do think some of his shooting numbers were tough. I think he shot poorly from 3, which is supposedly everything, but he's also a pretty talented shooter. Apparently in practices he was making everything. So he's the first one with a big range on him. The other ones that kind of jump out, and it makes sense, Kai Jones, big fella out of Texas. A couple places, Ringer, NBA Draft Net, 11 and 12. Bleacher Report and ESPN, 21 and 23. And that's something that makes a ton of sense. His highlight reel is supposed to be, like, special. Like, if this was a highlight reel draft, Kai Jones could be a top couple pick. But I think the results, and when you watch the game tape, I've heard people say, like, he doesn't know how to play basketball, which always feels tough. Like, come on, he's got to know how to play basketball. I say, Poppy, can he play basketball? I'm trying to see what other names jump out to you, BBD, as big range guys.
Well, Jalen Johnson is a pretty big range guy. Bleacher Report still has him going top 10. The Ringer has him as low as 23, and then we have him in like basically every tier across the 4 places we looked, and he was a consensus top 5 guy coming into the season, and he got like hurt and wasn't that good in like the few games he got to play. So he just a tough year at college for him. But he was one of the guys that like going into the draft was like he's one of it was known as Cade and then like the Jalens.
Right.
And Mobley, but it was Cade and the Jalens.
Cade and Jalens. BBD was tanking for Cade for a little bit, and then the Knicks just played too much good basketball.
Knicks was like, all right, well, never mind. Knicks are building something good now. So
when have we ever said that?
Keon Johnson's a guy who does range a lot as well. In our 4, he's in pretty much the same group, but like another mock draft I just pulled up has an 11.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And right before we recorded this, we should say the Grizzlies and the Pelicans just traded, and the 10 and 17 picks were swapped in that process, which that's fun because there's a lot of salaries and a lot of bodies moving in that trade, but that does mean that the Grizzlies organization is eyeing someone at 10, which makes me wonder, you start looking at the board, Moses Moody has a little bit of range. I mean, you wonder if it is one of those talented guys we're talking about that they like, and that's why they made the move, or it was just part of the deal, and they'll see what's there. The other guy that I'm really excited for, Davion Mitchell, he was so nasty at Baylor this year. He looked like he played on another level. The only reason he isn't more loved in the draft is 2 of the biggest things teams hate in the draft. He's not tall. He's listed at 6'1", heard around 6 flat, and he's older. He was a junior. He's
already 23.
Yeah, and he's an old, So, a little Obi Toppin there. But when you watch him play, you could not know the sport of basketball, and you'd say, well, he's different.
He's a guy you can trust. And it seems we've come away a little bit in recent years. Like, teams aren't as hung up about age stuff, but that applies to drafting a guy who's 20 or 21. He's 23.
Right. We've seen drafts in recent years where, the top 12 guys, 11 of them were 18. Yeah. So that's the other one that I think is definitely going to be a storyline come draft night.
He can very much be a swing point in the draft.
I'll show you how to swing point. BBD, let's do it. Let's get into the draft. The draft is brought to you by all of our shows and the store, JOMBOY Media. This is brought to you by JOMBOY Media. Facts.
You know what? It's also brought to you by our basketball shows.
Wow.
Talking Knicks.
Talking
Probably
Nets,
both putting stuff
Knicks.
out.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Knicks are interesting. They got a couple picks, right?
They have options, and they might
How
be trying
about
to
that?
move up, and who knows what that'll be. Of course, 2 picks that were options for moving up just got traded for each other, so
Right.
that's less likely.
Yeah, so that's
But hey.
and we're not going to project any trades and stuff. We're doing
Playing it as it lies from right after the Valanciunas trade.
Ooh, we're doing it live. The other, I might slaughter this one. Alperen Sengun.
I think it's Şengün.
Şengün, excuse me. Talented big man.
That's the extent I know about him.
International. So with those guys, sometimes, let's be honest, we've seen guys be incredible basketball players, and you see guys flake out. So,
and either way,
and
we
by
know
the way,
nothing about him before. So,
and same thing with American players. Like, more than half the draft, basically.
just easier access to watching those games.
It's just how it goes. BBD, I think the first couple are going to be Band-Aids here, and, you know, I'll go one. It's Cade Cunningham to the Pistons. If you were part of this college basketball season, you heard about him. 6'8", kind of a point forward type situation. Plays super in control, almost like too in control. Like, there's a lot of times when you're like, dude, take over this game. And he often did in the fourth quarter, and it was cool when he did. I do think a lot of NBA circles aren't sure if he's going to be like perennial all-star or just like, oh, he's good. He's Cade Cunningham. I don't know.
Smart and talented.
Yes. And I think just like, and maybe we'll get this phrase out of the way because you could say it for almost every player, but depending how much the three-point shot comes in, I believe he plays so in control. He sees the court. He wants to pass. I think the scoring is going to come. It's not like a Ben Simmons. Like, he wants to shoot and score, but
it's not that he's shown no capability.
He does like to pass. NBA Draft.net does player comparisons, which sometimes get hilarious. It kind of goes into my Mayo thing before. They have Tatum and Doncic, which, hey, I think if you told Detroit he turns into either of them, firm handshake and see you next time. So, Cade Cunningham, and hey, you know, we often do the game of the night here. If there's a name that you should know from this draft, it is Cade. He's a consensus number one. And he's, like, fun to watch. Fun to watch. Not necessarily in the nasty highlight reel, but, like, if you like basketball, you're like, wow, that guy's pretty dirty.
Poised
is the word BBD used.
I would watch some of his games early when I thought the Knicks were going to be in that conversation, which thankfully they were not.
Yeah. BBD, your Rockets are number 2.
Rockets, it's for a long time this wasn't the consensus pick for them, but it's become consensus. Everything's pointing to them taking Jalen Green.
Yeah.
Who's immensely talented. He did the G League thing last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little surprised as we got back into this. I mean, him and I think the next pick in the draft seemed like a coin toss for Houston, especially the way they play. But, man, yeah, I guess Jalen Green's the guy. 6'6" guard, supposed to be a shooter, played well in the G League, right? Like,
and he played pretty well. He had some
play with men.
Stretches. He had some good stretches.
Like, the G League compared to NCAA basketball right now is a monstrous gap.
I think my understanding on his season was his 3-point shot is among the biggest concerns, like many upcoming rookies.
Sure.
But his 3-point numbers are a little misleading. I think he started the year kind of like RJ on a very bad stretch,
and he turned it on.
And I think he also ended on a very bad stretch. So like his middle 85% of the season was good, but
which is funny because like it's an NBA scout. What are you supposed to do with that? Like,
yeah, it happened.
He looked great. Yeah, he's become the consensus, and I think the only reason why he has jumped, who I will take with the third pick, Evan Mobley, is just how guard-heavy the game has become. Because Evan Mobley's awesome, and he can shoot a little bit. Like,
go out there.
He's nasty. He also plays defense. Like, he is
people think you can like run your offense through him if that's what you want.
He was, I mean, pretty gross in college. He averaged 2.9 blocks per game. He's kind of what you want from a two-way stretch big these days. He's a little light of frame, but like as we want bigs to do more and guard guards and shoot threes, it kind of helps to be slight of frame. So I remember Houston, they were initially nervous to pair him with Christian Wood because they're similar players. If that's what you're making a high draft pick about, that would worry me a little bit.
A guy who's entering year 2 of a 3-year deal, I believe Wood's on, so...
Ooh, I like this player comp for Mobley. They have him compared to Bosch. I like that. I like that. Like Bosch, the corner 3 came later as the game started to go that way. Chris Bosch was a really good basketball player.
And their other comp was Pau Gasol. I like the mix of those two for him.
How about that?
So nice.
Evan Mobley. Not Mowgli, not the Jungle Book.
I hope the Rockets aren't passing on him because of the Christian Wood thing. Because Mobley, and also the thing with Mobley is everyone thinks like, kind of doesn't matter what your personnel is. He's a guy who's pretty malleable and can work around whatever. And that's where basketball's going.
Watch the NBA playoffs. If you can guard a little bit and you can score a little bit, you will play. Jay Crowder. Like, that's it. Jalen Green, if you were looking for it before. I'll do all the comps off NBA Draft Net because some of them cracked me up. Bradley Beal was Jalen Green's comp, which, 6'6", scoring guard.
Yeah, that's like his peak.
Yeah, that's a high end. Like, Bradley Beal's really good. Really good.
But maybe out of college, I don't know, people saw him that way. But did a little bit. And Mobley fits very well with the Cavs. They're kind of guard heavy. As is, they're trying to separate
Garland,
Sexton.
Right.
So they don't need to go get another guard. And that's why Jalen Suggs is going to go
Draft
4.
Mobley and wrong it. There you go.
Who I thought there was, but until a few weeks ago and became clear Jalen Green was going to go to the Rockets, or it looks like, I guess we don't know. I thought there was a chance they'd go for Suggs over him. He had an incredible season with Gonzaga and a really good player.
Would that
fits
be
a team need?
Would
more.
that be the massive shake in this draft if the Cavaliers do trade Sexton or Garland or whatever, and then they do take Suggs? Like, are people waiting for that? Like, I don't think so, but
yeah, I'd be surprised because it was like kind of the whole thing.
Yeah,
it's trying to get Garland to be like the guard.
Right, that makes sense.
Suggs would be like leading your offense.
Suggs is supposed to be pretty much as safe as an NBA pick comes.
Yeah. He feels like a Raptor.
Yeah, a little bit. Like it. When we look back in the draft in a few years and say, if Jalen Suggs becomes a star, Kyle Lowry-esque type player for the Raptors, and Mobley doesn't fully pan out, it's like, oh yeah, like Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga. Like if you watched any part of the NCAA tournament this year, you saw Jalen Suggs hit the crazy shot. He's awesome, man. I mean, like fundamentals meets flash. His NBA comps are Jason Kidd and De'Aaron Fox, which, again, those are big boy comps. So to get him, if they get him at the 4 pick, that's like
they had a down year for them.
You got to be pretty happy with that.
Got a little lucky in the lottery, and you walk away with Jalen Suggs.
Especially if they're moving away from Lowry because he's a free agent, right?
Free agent presumably would like to get his last big deal, multi-year deal.
Same. I think, BBD, I'm going to wrap up the consensus of pretty much when you look at a lot of these draft sites. I mean, let's see, NBA Draft, ESPN, and The Ringer all have the same top 5. And so we'll roll chalk with you. He's a guy who's climbed a lot recently and kind of recently became a consensus. And 5. He's in his own tier a little bit. It's Scotty Barnes out of Florida State, 6'8", wing. When, the people I listen to in basketball circles talk about what they've heard from the people in basketball circles, they say, throw the stat line out. They say at practices he's disgusting. At Florida State, which has a lot of talent, a lot of high-level talent, they say, he was the freshman this year, and he kind of didn't want to overstep his boundaries. He kind of, let the other guys do their thing, and what he was asked to do, he did. And, there was times that they wanted him to do more, but, when you're a freshman at a power program like Florida State, sometimes that can be a big ask. His, and this is NBADraft.net, the comps get better as you get more into the draft. They have Jabari Parker and Draymond Green, which, again, like, what? Those are two of the most different players you'll see. So, yeah, the shooting, like you could say with any prospect, but he's, from the people I trust in basketball, they're like, that's the guy you circle. Like, he's going to figure it out. It's just to what degree.
Yeah. He's going to help whatever team ends up with him. And he reminds me kind of a lot from a prospect standpoint from Patrick Williams last year, another Florida State guy. Which kind of quickly became like, oh, I guess you are a top 5 guy, huh?
Yeah.
And on draft night, he was still surprised when he went 4, but he's a guy that just like draft people really liked.
Love him.
And another, Orlando has 2 very high picks, and you would think they want one of them to be a lock to help.
Yeah.
And Barnes would,
man, how fun
Barnes
is
would
that?
be that, and he's a potentially high end helper.
That's video game stuff. 5 and 8 pick. That's fun. Excited for Magic fans. Shout out Magic Sam.
Shout out Magic Sam. And I might be about to break his heart with my 6th pick, a guy who I thought might be, until recently, they might go to at 5. And I think Magic, we're hoping he's there at 8. And I have the Thunder taking him. I'll take Jonathan Kuminga.
Okay.
He's potentially the biggest like wild card in this like top 10 group, because he can. There's a world where we look back on him as I was like the most dynamic player.
Yes.
In this draft, but
that's what everyone says. They say he has Kawhi type potential, which again the thing that worries me about that is like Kawhi coming into the NBA didn't have Kawhi type potential. Like Kawhi Leonard, as we all now know, is wired completely differently, that he got himself to the level he is. And Kuminga, there's a lot of people that are mixed on him because they say the talent is insane, but, I mean, at the NBA level, it takes a lot more than talent. Almost every person you get on the court with is, the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of...
He's as talented a guy as you find, but his talent is centered around the scoring.
Right. Which is tough to break in as a young guy.
And people don't know if he...
Because there's other dudes that can score in every NBA game.
If he has defense in his bag, and then, like, the passing isn't pretty.
Right.
And he doesn't seem particularly inclined to pass. And given that his strength is his scoring ability, his efficiency numbers don't stick out. Don't have them offhand. Yankees just made a trade. Nobody of substance. They got Clay Holmes from the Pirates.
Disagree on that.
4.93.
Clay is literally a substance.
So if you're listening Thursday, this happened Monday.
This already
so
happened.
You don't care.
Kuminga is a super interesting one.
And the Thunder have so many picks moving forward, they can take a swing.
I like that. The other side of that argument is you want to get, the Warriors have the 7 pick. If he's there, that's got to be an interesting conversation because it turns into the, all that talent and skill. If you get him in the gym with Clay and Steph and Dre every day, what does that turn into? He's off the board.
He essentially gets to redshirt a year.
The Warriors are on the clock, and you know what? I wasn't sure what I was going to do here. This is where things start to get interesting. I'll go book night. I'll go the Warriors buy in. I think, like we started out the show with, we weren't sure where that was going to land. I think the Warriors believe in what they do, and they see a talented, well-liked guard that can get to the rim, that they think can shoot. And, I mean, if you add another one of those guys to Golden State, like James Bouknight is going to get whatever look he wants in Golden State. So, done. BBD, you get both Magic picks? Or no, I did Scotty Barnes.
You did Scotty Barnes. I get the next Magic pick.
I got the Magic pick.
If Bouknight or Kuminga were there, I think they take them. So it's hard to figure out what one would be. I think I lean Franz Wagner. I'm going to roll with that.
Okay.
We're in the territory of guys that are a little bit of a black spot because I know those top, 7 guys decently well. And I know the guys that are Knicks targets decently well. So we're in kind of my dark spot. But so I believe the consensus around him is he's a safer pick, but so it goes a little bit against what I said before about what they might want to do with their second pick. But nothing wrong with getting contributors because they've kind of not done
Wagner. Mo's brother, right? We've done this
so.
before. We've done this before.
Also Michigan.
Michigan. Sorry, just had to miss FaceTime. Recording something. Okay, that brings us to the Sacramento Kings. Oh, man. They are at the 9 pick. So let's see. We've been pretty chalky. Some people like Moses Moody there. You know what? If I'm the Kings, I'm gonna do my first obnoxious pick of the draft. I'm gonna go Josh Giddey. Mostly because it feels like a Kings pick in my heart, and I don't really know why. I mean, actually, a couple big boards have him in that area. He played in Australia last year, right? Adelaide. Josh Giddey, and he is Australian, so I shouldn't say he played back there. His NBA player comp on NBA Draft It. Joe Ingles, which feels a little lazy. I'll be honest, but that's part of me that likes the site. I don't know. That just feels like a Kings move. Vlade Divac. They go a little international with it. Yeah, that's all I have.
Well, this was the move. Passon just tweeted the Clay Holmes move. Hoy Park was part of the send back. So
oh wow, how about
cute.
it? Hope he dominates.
Hilarious. And that was that ties in pretty well with the discussion I have around the 10th pick. Memphis just traded up into there.
Right.
The report I saw from Jonathan Wasserman, does draft stuff. He said that Josh Giddey is a name he heard Memphis was targeting with the move up. So that'd be gut punch a little
Kings
bit.
D-bag crew then. Good, even better.
Yeah.
That's the draft.
I like that.
That's the draft.
So I think in real life that would mean they try to slide back again, whatever.
Right.
Doesn't really matter. They're sticking with the pick here for our purposes, and I was surprised to read that report because they have John Morant, so you think you don't need to target guard, but you also get best player, whatever. I'll have them take Jalen Johnson here.
Okay.
The guy.
Sure.
He ends up in the top 10. He's one of the big range guys we were talking about. And I think they bank on the talent. They're building something interesting there. They now have a few vets in the building. They got Bledsoe as part of that trade.
Right.
So the guard stuff really didn't make sense to me. So you get another wing in the building. You bank on the talent, have seemingly a good thing building there, good culture. You hope that gets everything pointed the right direction.
So it would be Jaren Jackson Jr. pairing up with Jalen Johnson.
A little bit.
That's 5 J's, 2 guys. Been there.
Jalen Johnson, he's coming off the bench to start the year.
That's fine. I like that pick, sure. Swing for talent that wouldn't have been penalized by a lesser 13 games or whatever it was. Good. Jalen Johnson is now on the Grizzlies to us. That leaves the Hornets at 11. I think what I'm going to do is
I don't know if you're going to do it, but I have a pick I like for them.
I think I'm going Kai Jones. I think the Hornets believe in their coaching system. Borrego, they were kind of an upstart team last year. They got Ball running it. And Kai Jones, like I said earlier, I think teams believe in talent, and if they see it, they're going to believe they can coach it. So Kind of what you were saying with Kuminga. I've got Kai Jones in a similar boat just because I think a team is going to believe in the talent and make a move on it. Let's see. Kai Jones comparisons, Jackson Hayes and Jaren Jackson Jr. So just like that, the J names keep flowing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this brings up the Spurs pick.
Jalen Johnson's comps, by the way, Steven Jackson and TJ Warren. How about that?
Wow. I thought the pick I teased liking to them was Kispert. Which would be a little high, but some mocks have him going that high. Because he's a guy who's going to help day one, and that's kind of something I would imagine they need. They have some young talent there.
I can see that.
So if I was making that pick, that's where I would have gone. I didn't make that pick. It's not where I'm going. I'm going to the Spurs. I'm going to another Johnson. I'm going to send Keon Johnson over there because he feels like a Spur.
I love that. I mean, that's kind of what the draft is about, if we're being dead honest. Like, there's going to be a couple of these picks that happen on draft night, and you're like, that is so obvious. Speaking of, the Pacers are up, and I think in Pacers type move, there's one guy that's slipping on our combined draft board, and I think that's a Pacers move to get Moses Moody. A couple mocks have him going 8. I think the Pacers are sitting there, and they say, okay, we're at the 13th pick, and we got potentially one of the top 8 most talented guys. So, Mo Mood.
I like that.
Out of Arkansas.
He's a guy. He ends up slipping in our mock, but he's another guy whose stock rose quite a bit.
And this is where I love NBA Draft.net. Comparison, Glenn Rice / Robert Covington.
Isn't that something?
Glenn Rice / Robert Covington. That really is something.
Now,
who'd you get for the Spurs there? Keon Johnson, his player comp, Latrell Sprewell. Fantastic.
Yep.
Fantastic. It's incredible.
Now we're at the Warriors' second pick of the draft, number 14. I think I lean Trey Murphy here.
Two guys here, okay.
A guy I admittedly don't know a whole lot about, but I know he's a guy who's known to be a hard worker.
Okay.
That's like the one line I heard about him in passing on.
Put him in the gym.
They believe in him to be able to shoot long term. Positionally, it kind of fits. As a bigger wing.
Trey Murphy. Smoke show Trey Murphy. I have decided I love my next pick, Trey Murphy, the junior forward out of Virginia. His player comp, also Robert Covington and James Jones. So, again, that's where NBA Draft.net gets comparison, because one was Glenn Rice, Robert Covington, and then the next is Robert Covington and James Jones.
The comps are the gem of that site.
This is a pick that I just see this group of fans on Twitter getting mad and then probably falling in love with this guy. I think I am doing Corey Kispert to the Washington Wizards, and they picked Hachimura from Gonzaga. Previously, they bring in Kispert, and the Gonzaga Wizards are rolling.
I like that. So Thunder, I had their last pick, where we took a bit of a swing at 6. So I think now there's another swing pick you could make, but I think I won't be making that because they just did a swing. So I think this is where I'm gonna end up putting Chris Duarte.
Okay.
It's just a guy who's gonna contribute.
Duarte, boom, boom, boom. Everybody said Duarte.
Who is the next target?
Guard out of Oregon. John Starks comparison. That's a fun one. That's what I always wonder. I wonder if they just dig up names or if there's someone that is actually in the tape and sees Chris Duarte and says, that's the next John Starks. NBA Draft Net, we'll find out at some point. Beavers, that kicks the Pelicans to me, who they just did a trade.
They just traded back to this spot.
They traded back to this spot. You have Zion. Did they just get Valanciunas, or
They just got Valanciunas. Traded Steven Adams. They like Valanciunas' floor spacing.
All right. So you've got a ton of bigs there, and they drafted Kira Lewis Jr., the guard. Lonzo,
right.
is this his last year? Okay.
Lonzo is restricted.
I finally love this pick. I think any team that gets this guy is going to love this pick. I'll go Davion Mitchell. I mean, just as fun of a guard as you're going to find. A team that can use guards. I mean, with the Ball Bros, you know, obviously they're best at point guard, but they're long enough that they can guard different positions on defense. Man, if Davion Mitchell and Zion Williamson get paired up, check out the highlight reel.
It'll be cool.
That would be fun.
He's a guy everyone believes in him, his ability to help out his rookie year, which I feel like I'm talking about a lot with a lot of guys. He might have a limited ceiling because of the size stuff we discussed.
He's another one, depending what the Warriors do with their first pick. If he's there for the second one, I could see them loving him.
Yeah. And
I could see them loving him.
I wanted to I was considering him with this Thunder pick, which would have been which I guess wasn't fully a swing, like I said before.
It's a little tough because him and Curry, if they're both on defense, you kind of can't do that in the NBA.
Yeah.
But it's just a fun concept.
Yeah, the Thunder, I discussed him as a swing pick before, but it's just because he's not guaranteed to have a high ceiling.
Sure.
And you took your high ceiling swing with Kuminga at 6. Well, I did.
Kuminga.
If he was here at 18, I'd say, well, now this is ridiculous. We're not passing him 3 times, so I would have taken him here. So this is a lot of me trying to stall and figure out what to do with this Thunder pick.
In there. BBD's Thunder. This is your third Thunder pick?
Third Thunder pick. Probably need to target a guard position.
GM BBD.
Eek. Man, we're at a point where I don't know a lot of guys. Because I reached on some guys I know. Miles McBride.
Yes! They got him.
Bang.
Miles McBride, man. That's awesome.
Thunder have so many picks moving forward. I don't know. This is the first pick where I have nothing.
Well, speaking of BBD, we are on to our Knicks.
And there's an element of there's a guy I'm not letting him not be an option for your Knicks picks.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's Nick fandom. I think I'm going with someone who's getting mixed results on the mock drafts. I think he's fun. I do think this Knicks front office thinks they can outthink the draft boards a little bit because they did that with Quickly. I'm going with Dosunmu. I'm slaughtered that name. It was a bad moment for me. Out of Illinois, you probably remember him as the guard who played with the mask in the NCAA tournament. Knicks always looking for some guard-type play. He's 6'5". I think he just makes stuff happen. And I just think the Knicks, he's going high in some boards. He's going low in some others. So the Knicks make their move for him. Done.
Nice. I have the Hawks now, wedged right in between the two Knicks picks.
Sure.
I think this is where I'm going to send Şengün.
Ooh, okay.
It's a little bit of a wild card.
I love it.
But they have bigs they trust to keep in front of him for this year. And they have all the guys they signed last year are kind of all sticking around. Obviously, free agency's in a week and things can change and trades, whatever. But
Şengün.
He's a little bit of a mystery man in this draft.
That's fun. That's fun.
Got another big in the building. I think he's a young guy, pairs nice, potentially with Trae Young.
Şengün. I'm excited to see him. Some of the scouting reports on him are just fun. Like, he's supposed to be like
I have a little half regret there because they also did Okongwu last
beautiful
year.
offensively.
But get the body.
Good. Get another big. They played Gallinari a ton last
John
year.
Collins, it unlocks the ability to flip him if you need to. Or, I don't know.
Şengün's different, man. Maybe. BBD, second Knicks pick. I might lean on you a little bit here. Do I put Trey Man out there?
I think the consensus. Knicks Twitter will be mad if you don't take Sharif Cooper here.
You
Have
think
them
so?
Pass on him twice.
Okay.
He might go ahead.
Let's take him. Let's take Sharif Cooper. I mean, that's kind of why I asked. You know, I was going to give my guy Tommy Piccolo a little love, and especially if you're a Knicks fan. Even if you're not, if you're getting into the NBA draft, go check out Tom Piccolo's Twitter. Tommy knows the game really well. He's been breaking down some prospects. So yeah, and man, he's kind of all over the draft board, right?
Yeah, people don't know if he's fully going to be able to shoot,
Sure.
but they don't not think it's on the table, and everything else is really good.
Okay.
He's very toolsy, and he seems to have
Man,
kind of similar effect like Lou Will and Quickly that we fell in love with. Like,
right.
he gets to the line. He can make some smart plays.
That's his
Defensive efforts there.
His NBA comps are Trey Burke and Yogi Ferrell, which, as a Knicks fan, that scares me a little bit. And you'd almost like to get another wing body, but hey, you know I'm about Knicks Twitter, BBD. If that makes him happy, Sharif Cooper to the Knicks.
The one I saw. I mean, the Knicks are trying to trade up. To what degree they'll be able to, I don't know. But everyone's saying if they stand pat and they have both 19 and 21, it would be hard to imagine they pass on Cooper twice.
Okay.
Maybe they wouldn't take him at 19. They'd get a more sure thing, but...
Okay. All right, BBD, back to you.
That's as big of a swing pick as
and
they
your
can make.
Lakers.
My Lakers.
Your Lake show.
There's, like, no way they, like, care who's going here, so that kind of sucks.
It's a big factor.
NBADraft.net has them taking Dosunmu.
Snagged him, sorry.
Oops. Let's get a Kentucky body in there to sit behind AD, Isaiah Jackson. Bang.
BBD. Is Isaiah Jackson not already on the Knicks?
Oh, is he the guy? Oh, he's the guy that's Kentucky, and I think he's CAA.
I mean...
Everyone's like, oh, he's double-dipped.
I got some bad news. Get your Isaiah Jackson Knick jersey now. But he goes to the Lakers. Good. Good. That's so funny, the part of that draft stuff that's very real. That's very real. Rockets, let's BBD, let's speed through the end of this, because let's be honest, we don't know at this point. The Rockets take Trey Man.
I like that.
Yeah. Terrence Mann's bro. A lot of guys are in on him. Good. Happy for him. You're the Rockets now.
And I have them another mystery man who's all over the place between our mock drafts, Usman Garuba.
Yeah. What's the scouting report on him again, BBD?
I think he's playing in the Olympics right now.
Usman Garuba. What a name. Let's see what NBA Draft.net has to say.
What do they have cooked up?
Amir Johnson. Like, where did they dig that up? Amir Johnson's your player comp? Good. Let's see him. 6'8", 230. So he's a man. A lot of these guys are like 6'8",
almost 19
like
and a half.
185. Good for him. BBD, we have another guy sliding in our draft, so I will take him. Zaire Williams, you are a Los Angeles Clipper. Congratulations.
So exciting for him.
Really is. Goes to a good team. He's a Stanford guy, so he stays out in California. Good.
Let's find ourselves
somebody. And his comp is Rashard Lewis, which is basically how the Clippers play right now. So that's perfect.
Ooh, I like that.
Perfect.
Let's get the Nuggets are on the board.
It's at 26.
When we'll give them Jaden Springer.
That's huge.
Some mocks have him as high as 12, so they're gonna bank on some potential talent there. It gets them another guard in the building.
That just
They have
changes
Jokic
things.
and Aaron Gordon there already. No idea if Jaden Springer.
Changes everything. Love that pick, BBD. Love that pick. Man,
Yeah, he's a plus shooter, so that
huge.
any team in that position could use that.
The Nets are up, and who knows what are they looking for? They've already got kind of a lot of their guys. I'll say they take a chance on something. Who's a guy that's like only in one mock draft? How about Day'Ron Sharp? A lot of teams have him end of the first round. One mock had him mid-second. Huge. Nets get their guy.
I like that. That's obviously the position they've been the thinnest at. Not that they're in a championship window.
It's perfect. Day'Ron Sharp getting big shots up for them.
So my Sixers.
Your Sixers, Philly BBD.
Let's go ahead and that guy, not any skills that stick out nicely, so never mind. This guy that fell, but being honest, we're in I've heard of him territory. So I'm gonna take BJ Boston here.
Okay.
No idea if that's
It's a great
philosophically
pick.
there,
It's
but
an incredible pick, BBD.
guard. Oh, might be trading Ben Simmons soon.
That's a great pick.
The rookie this year, Maxey. They know each other.
I like
It's
that.
cute.
Okay, that's a huge pick. I'm gonna go with another slider, and maybe I think our last slider. I'll go with Cameron Thomas to the Suns at the 29th pick. One website has Cameron Thomas going 9th. I think that's Bleacher Report, which only half counts. Everywhere else pretty much has him in the 20s.
Yeah. We found the guy who's high on him.
BJ Boston, his player comp Nick Young. So that's a good end of the first round pick. I like that. That's fun. And who did I just pick? I just picked Cameron Thomas. His player comp is Etwan Moore, Buddy Hield. Those are completely different players. That's the beauty of it. David, you have the last pick in the draft. The Utah Jazz select.
They will be taking Quentin Grimes, of course.
Yes. I like Grimes. I'm glad you took him.
He gets into the end of the first round here. And yeah, they still have their guys.
BBD, I'm a little mad at you because I was going to end this with pick a second rounder that you think will be good. And he was going to be my guy. I like him a lot. But he sneaks into the end of the first round, so I can't take him. Let me see. I will just go straight by name, and I will take JT Thor as my second rounder to hit.
And I'll take Joshua Primo. Because straight
Primo
name.
Primo box, as Kevin Love said. BBD, let's just tie the knot here. I actually have to get home and take Noodle outside pretty badly. So, you guys, the last episode crushed as we record. It's already one of our most viewed episodes.
Yeah.
So,
Day of numbers.
probably
Strong return.
arguably the best day of, and I think it was to drink Yankee tears. But either way, thank you
fair.
guys. Bake the algorithm, leave some reviews, go watch everything on the JOMBOY Media Network. Like BBD said, all the basketball shows have stuff going on. Sequence, Chris Rose, everything, guys. Mansplain Baseball.
Talking Giants is every day.
Yeah, talking Giants every
Sure, we're
day.
doing Yanks and baseball stuff for Deadline, Farm to Fame.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Share with an NBA fan today. They might love it. They might absolutely hate it. We'll let you know how many picks we got right. Probably all of them.
We'll do it anyway, but tell us how dumb we are and we can all find out with the draft.
That's what it is. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend. See you talking baseball. Trade deadline.